Hi everyone, and welcome to the TechNet show.
Yes,
there is some big news happening right now.
Oh yeah, real big stuff. Team Red,
ZEN 3 has finally dropped, and it's exciting stuff. It really is.
Oh yeah, some crazy stuff.
I mean, why don't we just talk about like the highlights of this? So there are a few big things. First of all, instructions per clock has increased by 19%, which is quite a significant amount.
Oh yeah, that's a good chunk.
But the bigger thing is that the L3 cache. So before, because of how they had a chiplet design, meaning that they had half of the processors connected to half of the L3 memory and the other half connected to the other half of it, meaning that they had 32 megabytes in total, but each part had only access to 16 megabytes at a time, which was a good design. I'm not going to deny that, because it increased their yields by a lot, meaning that they could sell better processors for cheaper. And who doesn't want that?
Very true.
But the issue with that design was that there's latency involved. And latency, as all of you guys know, is bad for everything.
No, yeah. It's a very
obviously
hated word.
Ryzen was able to counteract that with just pure performance. It didn't always work out that way. However, this time they're able to actually combine the caches together, meaning that it's more like a traditional processor.
Yeah, we're all back together now as one big processing family.
And that's pretty great. Oh, but I mean, this has nothing to do with it has a lot to do with the announcement, but the announcement was pretty. It was beautiful. I love that stage. I really want to know how they did it. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah, their presentation all in all was on point.
Yeah,
also,
it was one of the most professional looking reviews I've seen in a while. They made it slightly gamer focused, but they took the overall approach this time, because all their previous one has been very gamery, but this felt very professional.
Oh yeah,
which speaks volumes to their audience. So obviously there's efficiency improvements to this design, seeing that they've been beating Intel in the efficiency realm for a very long time at this point. Largely in point to their 7nm process. And because of the advancements in this process, there's higher yields, as I mentioned earlier, but also better efficiency. But I mean, the best news, if you ask me, the best news from this announcement is their single-threaded performance. You want to talk about that, Jared?
Oh yeah. So if I recall my history correctly, if there's one thing that you can always count on, at least from like Intel side of things, to tout on over Ryzen, of everything else, is be like, well, at least our single-threaded performance is top notch.
Yeah, but then, and in a lot of cases, especially gaming, that's all that mattered. I don't care how many threads you have. Games usually only run on like 1 or 2 cores.
What is another thread? What is another core? That doesn't exist. That definitely seems to have changed this time around. At least if you're counting off Cinebench single thread stores going off here. When you compare the best of the best, or I guess second best, but spoilers. When you're comparing, was it Intel's Core i9 10900K? Hang on.
I can hear something from your end, Jared. What have you done?
I'm sorry.
What have you stolen? Did you steal a Zen 3 processor?
They're after me. I need to go. Where was I? Oh yeah. So
got away with it.
I'm not sure where I left off, But if we want to compare single thread performance through, Cinebench, if you compare Intel's current top of the line Core i9-10900K, they got themselves a fairly respectable score of 544. Not bad. Good stuff. Great stuff. In most cases, I'm assuming. But now, AMD had a chance to flex a little, or kind of a lot, with the Ryzen 9 5900X, which touts a Cinebench score of 631.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy, isn't it?
Making that 544 look like peasant numbers. Anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what they could do in a single generation, seeing that they were falling behind in single-threaded performance, and now they're beating them.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. At a lower clock speed, too.
Oh, yeah. Major props to the engineers behind AMD, man. They're putting in the work. Do they sleep?
Yeah. I mean, do any engineers sleep?
Fair enough. Have they found a way to extend time for themselves for them to not sleep?
But man, okay. Dr. Lisa Su and her team, they're phenomenal. Phenomenal. I cannot believe that they turned AMD from this company that couldn't do anything right. Well, other than their Athlon 64 processors, which came out in like 2003 or something like that. I don't know.
Nah.
Like early 2000s. To this company that is just kicking Intel's butt.
No,
and that's crazy. Intel's been just sitting around for too long. I am an Intel fan. I will admit that. Because I am an Intel fan, I want Intel to succeed. But I don't want them to be stagnant like they have been over the past few, like, I don't even know, like many years at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I think at the start of like the Core series that they just decided, we'll just take a break for a while. Let's just make minor improvements here and there. Make it seem like we're doing something, but really not.
We're already on top. I mean, what more? We can take our time. We can leisure through this.
Like, back then, they beat AMD in power efficiency, actual power.
Oh, yeah.
Core count. Well, not core counts. AMD was still beating them in core counts, but I mean, why do you need more than 4 cores that could like completely destroy what AMD was offering for 8?
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
Man, Dr. Lisa Su and her team is doing some pretty crazy stuff. And even though the last generation GPU didn't take off as well as they hoped, it gave Nvidia thoughts, meaning that they actually needed to push something forward. Remember when they made the Super lineup just right after the launch?
Oh, yeah. They actually had competition. They were nervous for once.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they were able to act. They didn't win on both fronts. They definitely won on Intel's front, not so much Nvidia's.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that they actually made Nvidia move, that hasn't happened for ages.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Nvidia has not been stagnant like Intel has been. They've been pushing things forward. They've just been pushing things forward in their own way.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of
like,
the Nvidia thing, isn't it?
Like RTX, I think that's pushing things forward. Yeah, it didn't actually push things forward in raw performance. But that's still an improvement, and a huge one at that. If you guys have seen RTX performance, sure, it cuts your frame rate in half. But come on, guys. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks much more realistic than the old style of doing things.
Ray tracing is not just existent. It is. They're pushing it hard.
Yeah, and understandably, this ray tracing, it is the next generation, and you could tell that it is just by the fidelity of it. You can't have next generation without ray tracing. That's how important I think this is.
Oh, yeah. It's a real big thing. I apologize if that sounded sarcastic. I legitimately believe it's a really big thing.
You remember when it came out, everyone thought that ray tracing was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
Why do I care how well those like light rays and reflections and all of that stuff?
But then games came out, and it was like, wow.
Oh, this is actually pretty legit.
I know. I mean, sure, it brings your computers to its knees. And honestly, I commend Nvidia for releasing the 20 series cards. It wasn't a huge jump in performance, but it was a risk. Because you're charging more money, which I don't agree with, for hardware that you don't really see the point of until the technology in the games catch up. Back to our original topic though, but AMD has been keeping up with them, and that's impressive on its own. They're not just keeping up, they're not just exceeding a company that's been stagnant. They're keeping up with a company that's been constantly innovating to the point where they don't even know what to do with themselves. I mean, look at them. They're going into AI.
No.
Like, I really genuinely think that Nvidia has nothing better to do at this point and just like innovate in like random areas, but they're moving forward somehow.
No, yeah. It's like they've already found a pinnacle that they're of course going to, I'm assuming, keep improving on, but now they're just like, shoot, I want to make something else that's new. But we already made ray tracing. How about AI?
It's impressive. AMD has grown so much. And Dr. Lisa Su, I don't know what she did to AMD, but whatever she did to their engineers, because whatever she did is working.
No, yeah. It's working real well.
Yeah, props to you. Oh, and she knows how to speak at a keynote.
Oh, yeah.
The way she explains things, it's so informative.
No, yeah.
It's like she's straight to the point. She's good at conveying information easily. And they're like high level types of information.
No, yeah.
And she does it just so well. So she doesn't hype the product. She shows you what it does and how they achieve it, which is it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like her job is not to like purely hype the product. It's just to tell you what the product does and that the product hype itself.
Yeah, and the engineering feats that they've done, it's getting me hyped. Just hearing about the things that they're doing, like, oh my gosh. I've never had products explained to me like this, and I'm liking it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the next chip that they actually announced, their actual flagship chip, is called the 5950X. It's a 16-core processor running at 4.9 gigahertz. The TDP of 105 watts. Now, you might be thinking 105 watts. That's a lot of watts. It is, but it isn't. Not for a 16-core chip.
Oh, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but an i7 K series has a TDP of 95 watts. Can you look that up real fast for me, Jared,
Sure.
before I like completely regret it? I'll keep talking about this.
i7K.
And the pricing, it's high. No one's going to deny this. It's $800. But this is for your enthusiasts. Like I want to get whatever's the best. Or even for like those people that do SolidWorks, CAD drawings, creative workflows like Adobe Premiere. Well, you don't need it for Adobe Premiere, but it'll definitely help your export times.
Yeah.
So, were you able to figure that one out?
Oh, so okay. So if I'm reading the numbers correctly, the i7 10700K processor, its TDP is showing at 125 watts with a configurable TDP down of 95.
Okay, I was wrong in a bad way.
So,
I was giving Intel the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that went out the window by about 20 watts.
Hey, it's configurable down to 95 watts. Oh my gosh. Okay, Intel, you guys need to get your power consumption together. because you're definitely not helping the environment. The other thing that they kind of announced, will kind of not really touch on too much, but they talked about Big Navi. It's a beautiful card, by the way. Honestly, I like the look of the Ryzen cards more, not the Ryzen, Radeon cards more than I like the GeForce series RTX. Because the RTX series looks too premium in my eyes. It looks too much like an art piece and not something that really... I don't like the gamer aesthetic, by the way. I don't like having my computer spit out rainbow unicorn spit. But
I need more rainbow unicorn spit in my life. Anyway.
I'm not a proponent for the gamer style. I just like the Radeon because it looks sleek. In my opinion, it looks sleeker. It looks more industrial. I think that's the right word. It looks more industrial than the RTX series does.
It's less of it trying to be its own aesthetic and instead just complements the rest of the kind of industrial-esque aesthetic that you'd find in a computer.
That's what I'm trying to say. So there were some announcements for this. They have some benchmarks. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt.
So much so.
It's possible, actually, that the FPS might be higher at release. Because don't forget, this is pre-release drivers. Without that, probably not too much optimization. Or this could be completely cherry-picked numbers. Take this with a grain of salt. Basically what I'm saying. So it could be either better or worse. So Borderlands 3 runs at 61 FPS, max settings 4K. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, max settings 4K 88. What did Gears of War? I should actually cut that one out. Gears of War 5, max settings 73 FPS, 4K. All of these running 4K. This is 4K, guys, at 60 FPS, max settings. I don't know what else to say about this, but wow.
4K gaming, y'all.
I remember when 4K gaming used to be a dream. If they can get the pricing up right with Big Navi, I think that they may have a fair shot against Nvidia. Or they might force Nvidia's hand and they might do Nvidia might do something incredibly stupid. Like release a 3070 Ti.
How much you want? I bet that's still on the back burner anyway.
The only reason why I think that's a very stupid idea is because you have 3 models already. And yes, there is room for a Ti model. But there would be a lot of people that already have a 3080 that would have gotten a 3070 Ti if they knew it existed. And I think that would be very bad for Nvidia from a PR's perspective of releasing one more model in their lineup without without saying anything, and right after you made a huge announcement. And it's not like one of those smaller models either. It's one of those gap models, which would have sold pretty well.
You never go wrong with the Ti.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope they don't do this, but who knows? Maybe AMD just might force their hand. Early adopters might just end up getting the short end of the stick. I mean, they get it a lot.
It's really unfortunate. I guess that's the price of early adoption.
That's the end of the AMD event, which I think was awesome, by the way. Everything about it was awesome.
Solid. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to those Ryzen chips.
I'm looking forward to the next. Oh, wait. One more thing. Ryzen available. November 5th.
November 5th?
Important news. A month from now. I kind of wish that was sooner, but I mean, if they can fix, I really hope that they don't have supply shortages because everything seems to be dying right now.
Everything's sold out. It's really unfortunate.
Well, we'll see. And maybe TSMC is a much more competent chip manufacturer than Samsung is.
Hopefully. Knock on wood.
Hopefully. Knock on wood. Yep, you're right. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Or maybe TSMC is just getting completely slammed by Apple right now. And maybe they won't get to the Ryzen chipsets. Which leads us into our first story outside of the AMD event. Apple is having an event.
Yes, they are.
I forgot when it was.
October 13th. I'm pretty
October
sure.
13th. Okay. So they're saying that. So their title for it is High Speed.
High speed. It's cute. It's clever.
It's unfortunate. I don't like puns. But anyway, moving on. Well, not moving on from the topic, but moving on. So they're expected to announce their new iPhones on that one. And from the title, probably going to be 5G. The actual design looks kind of like radio waves if you kind of look at it the right way. So I really think that they're going to be announcing a 5G iPhone. And more than likely it's going to have the same design as the iPad Pro, meaning those sharp edges, like it or not.
It has returned.
I have my doubts, but I have my hopes of USB-C, but that's probably not going to happen.
I almost feel like they're going to remove
please.
all ports before they get to the USB-C.
I mean, the iPads are on USB-C.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway.
So there's rumors that they're going to be maybe putting in a fingerprint readers. What's it called again?
On the power
button. I mean, there's rumors for that. Yeah, a lot of. I'm looking forward to this. And another rumor is that there's possibly going to be releasing their ARM Macs at this event. They have promised that they're going to ship ARM Macs by the end of the year, and if they do it now, I'm going to be very excited. And I'm hoping I'll be able to get one, but who knows how these shortages are going.
I'm going to have to call in sick, aren't I? Going to have to wait by the computer to try and get one.
We are going to cover this event, so look forward to it. I really can't wait to see what Apple has. And yeah, let's move on to our next topic. Another Apple topic. Well, Microsoft Apple topic.
Yeah.
Microsoft is going to be releasing xCloud on iOS.
Yes.
In the web browser.
Okay.
I mean, it was only a matter of time that they were going to do that. After Amazon dropped the ball, well, not dropped the ball, well, dropped Luna onto the web browser.
Dropped the ball in a good way.
Yeah. It was inevitable that everything else was going to start moving toward the web browser. And I think that is a smart option. The only issues that I'm foreseeing is latency. I'm concerned about latency and controller support. I mean, maybe that's going to be a non-issue. But I'm not sure because Xbox controllers are Bluetooth. And Luna is Wi-Fi, meaning it connects directly to the server. So I don't know Apple's restrictions around Bluetooth, but I was pretty confident that it's pretty bad. So, I mean, we'll see how this is going to go. I'm actually very excited for this, though. And I can't wait to play xCloud on my phone. In other news, though, we should have talked about Intel. We should have grouped Intel. Okay, Intel kind of touched on Rocket League. Kind of as a last-ditch effort to hope that people didn't get excited for Zen 3. Did it work? Probably not.
Yeah, not really.
So they announced that they were going to release Rocket League in 2021. PCI Gen 4 support.
Yay.
And Thunderbolt 4 support. I don't...
Yay.
Intel, come on.
Also still 14 nanometer.
I don't believe that 14 nanometer is always the problem. Nanometers don't matter too... Well, it matters. Don't get me wrong. But you can get a better chip at a higher nanometer than a lower one. It's possible. Nvidia has shown that's possible in the past.
No, yeah.
But the issue is that Intel's not making a better chip.
So, on paper, in general, you can make a good 14 nanometer processor. The problem is Intel hasn't made a better 14.
I'm not saying it's not impossible to make a better 14 nanometer processor than a 7 nanometer processor. So it's not impossible.
It's just Intel hasn't done it yet.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Intel's better in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the nanometer debate is not always accurate. Yes, lower nanometers generally mean better power consumption. But it's not the set rule.
No, yeah. It's not purely focusing on 7 nanometers purely better than 14 nanometer. It's just you get it's easier if you have 7 nanometer to make a better chip than if you were still hanging on by 14 nanometer.
Yeah, it's just easier to do it. So, I mean, depends on how mature the processing is. I mean, how mature the production line is.
No, yeah.
Because maybe it's easier to make 14 nanometers than it is 10. Well, in Intel's case, it definitely is because they can't make 10 or 7
They've been
properly.
Stuck on that for... How long has it been?
They've tried. They tried. They kind of caught up on the mobile front, just not on the desktop. Intel kind of just cried out in a blog post, and I don't think anyone listened.
Man.
And I don't really want to talk anymore about that because it's depressing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But in our last piece of news, some Japanese YouTubers got their hands on a PS5, and they tore it apart.
Oh, yeah.
They found out something very interesting. The PS5 has liquid metal inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
Cooling the processor, of course. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm really looking forward to the PS5 because have I been saying PS4 this entire time?
I think you said PS5 earlier.
Okay, just making sure. But I've been really looking forward to the PS5. I am a very avid console proponent, which is pretty ironic seeing the fact that I've been playing games on a PC lately. If you look at our other channel, Quickstart Gaming.
Subscribe if you want some good stuff.
Yes, please. But
and what?
I've been really looking forward to this PS5. I really like consoles because I like the thought of just being able to sit down and play a game without worrying about anything else.
That is true.
Because with a PC, you need to worry about, does my PC meet the specs? If it does, what settings do I put it at? Do I want to set it high, like, high fidelity graphics and have a lower frame rate? Or do I want to lower the settings and have a, higher frame rate?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, a lot of people like choice, and I like choice too. But sometimes I just want to sit down and play a game.
Oh, yeah.
Like after one of these long podcasts, I want to sit back, relax, but I can't. I'm editing it.
Oh, yeah. It's unfortunate. But after you get the edit done, we have more news to cover.
I go to sleep.
But at some point in this cycle, there's a break. And in that break...
There is a break eventually. It's nice to not need to worry about anything else. Because on a computer, it sometimes gets a bit weird. Sometimes you get weird issues, weird graphic glitches, audio going out of sync from time to time, crashing, bad ports.
Yeah,
the works. I just like having something that I know is gonna work, and that's a console.
Yeah. The consoles are great whenever there's a moment where a game is crashing, you blame it on the game first before you ever blame it on the console.
Well, it makes sense because everyone has the same console.
Yeah.
If the game doesn't work on the console, it's the game's fault.
Yeah. You had one job.
Optimize it properly.
Literally one job.
If it's a PC, well, there's a good chance it's your PC's. Unless it's an incredibly bad port.
No, yeah.
Then it's the game's fault.
You can still blame the game, but they have a little bit of headway in the PC space.
Yeah, I mean, how can you optimize for every PC out there? It's impossible.
I'd be very impressed if you could. There's some very interesting PCs out there.
But anyway, I guess that's all the news we have for today. I hope that you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.
See ya.